creative and crafty friends. This is Gloria Plunkett with Designs by Gloria. Here I was requested by Splitcoastampers to share with you this cute video on how to create these adorable character pouches that you can give out at this upcoming Halloween season. This particular pouch holds 4 of these little Twix candy bars. You can add less if you prefer, but I think that's a cute little gift for a teacher, for a friend, for a co-worker, for if you go to a doctor's office, for your bank teller. I mean, just possibilities are endless. So let me show you how to create these cuties. I'm going to set this aside out of the way. And first thing we want to start off with is this acetate box. This particular box measures about 6 inches wide by 5 inches. Once it's put together, it's really 4 inches. So without these end flaps, it's about 6 by 4 inches. So I wanted to share with you how I created these little pouches. So what I did was I centered on my grid paper here, I centered my acetate box to ensure I was right at the center of the box. I took a little marker and I just made a little notch here and here with my marker. I put this on my guillotine cutter. I centered this right on the 2 lines there, and then I cut it in half. When I cut it in half, that means you get 2 pouches per acetate box, which is a great value. You put the box together by simply tucking in the tabs, and you get this cute little box right here. All right, so to create the insert for the box, I cut a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I scored it 3 and 3 1/2 using my simply scoring tool. I then ran it through the Pinewood 3D embossing folder, this one here, and it gave me this little texture. You can use any embossing folders you happen to have on hand, so just use what you have. Then I folded them on my score lines, and then this will tuck nicely inside of your little box. All right, so before we tuck this in here, no, actually, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to leave it tucked in there like this. The next thing I did was I cut some circles, which for the eyes, this is about a 1 1/2 inch circle, the orange, the pumpkin pie. The white, Whisper White, is 1 1/4 inch circle, and the little pupil is a 1/2 inch circle punch I used. You can use punches. I used my layering circles die, so they're not exactly, but I'm giving you an approximate. So I used the smallest of the die, and then I used the second to the smallest of the circles without the ridges on there of my layer circles dies to create the eyeballs, and then I used the 1/2 inch punch again to create the pupil. We're also going to need some leaves to create his little hair. I went ahead and used some old olive cardstock, and I ran it through the gathered leaves dies. I used these 3 die pieces here, and I love that it has the little veins and such. So as you can see on the cardstock, hopefully you can see the little ridges of the raised edges for the veins of this particular die set. And so I cut myself 3 leaves, and I cut myself a little trunk to create for my little pumpkin. And this measures 1 inch by 1 3/4 inch. And what we're going to do is, using my paper snips, I'm going to come from the bottom, a little angle there, and come straight up to the top and just take off a little piece there. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come from the bottom and create a little angle. So you just want to create a little tapered edge there. It doesn't have to be precise or perfect. It doesn't bother me that it's not exactly precise. What else? I think that's all we need. The only thing I am going to do is sponge these leaves to give them a little dimension. I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Old Olive ink with my sponge dauber, and I'm going to just give it a little bit of more definition to those veins by adding a little bit of ink. This is certainly optional. Again, I always say to try it out, just use what you have on hand. See if you like it. And then you can go from there. Just a little bit of sponging here just to give those veins a little bit more definition. Okay, put this away. The other thing I did was these little tips for the leaves, those little nibs there, I just cut them off. I didn't need them for my little hairline on my pumpkin. I also have a couple of others that I created. And for those others that I'm going to show you at the end of the video, the eyes are all the same. The only thing may differ is maybe the nose, if I added a nose, or if I added a hat. You'll see what I'm talking about. But the dimensions are all going to be the same. The way you cut the box, the way you cut the insert, and the way you cut the eyeballs. It's just your embellishments that you add that may be a little bit different. All right. So here I'm going to take my double-sided adhesive. I'm going to add some to the back of the 1 1/4 inch-ish eyeball, and I'm going to bring it about that much from the edge of the eye. Then I'm going to take the pupil, add some adhesive, and add it right about there on the eyeball. Can you see that? Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. No dimensionals on the eyeballs as I put them together. There is a couple dimensionals I add later. Okay. So those are the eyeballs now. This is the hairline. This is the little, what do you call it? The stem on the pumpkin. And then I'm going to add some ribbon, like I did here. You don't have to, but I like it. Some of my Come Together ribbon. It's a double pack in its Cajun Craze color. So I'm going to add that after I put this together. So here is my box, and I'm sorry for the glare. I don't know what else to do about that. So I'm going to place my pumpkin leaves, or his hairline, her hairline, whatever you want to call it, here. Now I'm not going to glue it down because I want to make sure I leave enough room for the smile and to get the eyeballs in there just the way I like them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive and add the eyeball directly to the acetate here. Then on this particular one, I'm going to add some dimensionals on the back. This is really super easy, you guys. I mean, I think it's super easy, but it's so cute. I think it makes a little bit of an impact if you give it to someone. I know they'll appreciate it because you took the time to create for them. Okay, so now the eyeballs. I like to make my eyeballs a little goofy looking. You don't have to. So I'm going to add that one with dimensionals to the left of this eyeball. Okay, so now I know my smile can come about right here. So I'm going to take my black Stampin' Right marker, and I'm going to use the brush tip end. I'm going to pull out my little, see, I'm going to look here. You see where that little circle is on the wood? Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, there's a little mark there, or I know that it's going to be the bottom of the eyeball. So the bottom of the eyeball hits about right there. So I'm going to make my smile about right there. And just a little squiggly line, you guys, that's all it is. I'm going to add some adhesive to the bottom of my cardstock. Actually, I'm going to add a couple on either side so it doesn't shift while it's inside of my box. You don't have to do this. I just like it not to move around. So once I get it in there, I'll use my bone folder, and I'm going to press in there to secure it. I'm going to press up here to secure. And you really can hardly see that adhesive once you get it on there. Now again, using my snail, I'm going to attach the stem to my pumpkin by adding a little bit of double-sided adhesive and attaching it like so, right in the center. Again, I'm going to add some adhesive to my leaves, just on the top, because I want to be able to tuck my leaves underneath there. And I don't want to cover his little eyeballs too much. So I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive on all of these right here at the top. Press to make sure they stay nicely. I love these little critters. I think they look so cute. All right. Let me get this out from under behind his eye there. And I think that looks good there. We're almost done. All I'm going to do is add some of this twine, Cajun Craze color. I'm going to double it up. And I want to make a little bow. Pull that through. I find if I hold it in the middle with my twine, and I hold it taut right there until I'm done adjusting my bow, it doesn't twist or turn or act goofy on me, like sometimes they'll tend to do. Trim this up a little bit here. Here's another little tip. Because this is so thin, I'm going to add a glue dot. Here it is. But what I'm going to do is take the glue dot while it's still on the adhesive sheet there. Can you see that? And I'm going to roll it up with my nail into a little thin line. Then I'm going to take my little bow, and that way I don't have any stickiness sticking out of the bow where it can get caught in the envelope or anything. And then I'm going to stick that right there. There you go. It's easy as that. Isn't this adorable? You fill it up with your favorite candy and you've got a great little treat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, drop me a message at designsbygloria@gmail.com and I'll answer them as quick as I can. And at the end here, I'm going to show you some pictures of some other characters I created. I have a free downloadable tutorial for you. All you got to do is go to designsbygloria.com and download it from my blog today. And it'll have all the measurements, pictures of all the different characters, and all the measurements for those other characters. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for joining us at the Splitcoastampers tutorial library, and hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much.